Welcome to Hope Care and Love Home Healthcare Services. We are so excited for you to have joined our team. We're even more excited that you have chosen us to be the employer for you. We know that you could have chosen any employer, but you chose to be at Hope Care and Love Home Healthcare Services. So we're going to ensure that we not only take care of our clients, but we take care of you as well. In order for us to do that, we do need to sit down and go over a few things that are important and ensure that everything is clear before you go out and you become an employee and you're providing care to our clients. As a provider, we want to ensure that we're providing top-notch quality care to our clients. And how do we do that? That's ensuring that you have the tools and the resources you need to be that employee. Okay? So, here at Hope Care and Love Home Healthcare Services, you have access to us 24 hours a day through phone, email, or text to ensure that you are getting the information that you need to provide the services needed to our clients. Okay? Now, what's going to happen is we're going to go through orientation. I'm going to give you a basic understanding and the basic tools that are needed to perform your job duties. You will receive an email at the end of your orientation with our handbook in it. It is your responsibility to review the handbook to ensure that the information that is in there you understand. If at any point you have any questions or concerns regarding the handbook, please do not hesitate to call us at 757-518-9900. If it is after hours, please call 757-581-9504. Now, as I go through this process, I need to ensure that you are following along with me and you are understanding the topics that we're discussing. So, as I go through each page, you will be responsible for writing something in the corner, the right hand. Alrighty, let's jump in it. You should have received an orientation packet, and that packet consists of 14 pages. Okay, the first one says, welcome aboard. We first want to take the opportunity to thank you for allowing HCL Home Healthcare Services to be your employer of choice. We are proud to welcome satisfied employees as well as clientele and look forward to many years of working together. The employee handbook will be emailed to you at the completion of orientation. So please, if you have any questions after you review it in its entirety, let us know. Okay, we're going to talk about the job description. Your job description is given to you, and it goes over the basic outline of what you are responsible for doing. You will sign that after you review it and give it back to Human Resources. Please understand, you are to be able to be compassionate. You are expected to go in there and help with basic activities of daily living. You are expected to go in and help with bathing, dressing, toileting, transferring, incontinence care, making meals, doing laundry, basic housekeeping around the individual we are providing service to. Okay? You may run errands with that individual or that client in their vehicle. You may go with errands with them if they have transportation set up. Okay? You are to engage with them, read with them, help them call their doctor, give them medication reminders, not dispense their medication. Okay? These are the things that you'll be responsible for doing. You should be able to lift, push, pull, and tug at least 50 pounds. Okay? You are to be able to read, write, English, and this is all in your job description. Okay? So please read over your job description thoroughly, sign it, and give it back to Human Resources. Your work schedule, number 2 on page 1. The employee must ensure that they are clocking in and clocking out from every shift. Okay? How do we do that, Sherry? So, in order to clock in and clock out, you're going to use what's called our electronic visit verification system, which is your EVV system, which is generations. You must clock in at the beginning of your shift, clock out. Inside that system, you'll also have the tasks that you're responsible for completing. You will check off what you have done during that day. And whatever you don't do, you need to put a note as to why you did not do it. Then there will be a note that you'll be required to put in. That note needs to consist of any doctor's appointments, anything abnormal, any changes in the client. If you just put did great every day, that is going to cause a concern when it comes time to reauthorize them. Are you having to complete their entire meal for them? Are you having to feed them? How many times did you have to change them? Those are the things that's needed in the notes. Okay? So it's very important that you keep that you put that information in there. At the end of your shift, you must clock out. Put a reminder in your phone for your schedule. What time you go to work, what time you get off, so that you remember to clock out. If you do not clock out, I cannot pay you. I need to verify that you were there, okay? And how do we do that? You're going to complete your task, clock in, clock out. You're going to sign, and the client or the family member will sign saying that you were there. I must have that to process payroll, okay? So you're being hired and you have a base rate. You will get that rate for up to 40 hours. In the event that we ask you to work overtime, you will be paid time and a half. And that time and a half is off of your base rate, okay? But overtime must be approved. Number 3, notice of resignation. In the event that you decide that you no longer want to work for us, we understand. We understand things happen. We understand things change. We ask that you give a respectable 2-week notice in order to be 1, rehired, 2, so that we can properly plan for the client for their care. Don't just not show up. Don't just not call. Give common courtesy and a common respect to those that you're providing the service to. We also may be able to work with you if there's some changes going on. So please ensure that you are doing that when you, if you decide you no longer want to be employed. Okay. Number 4, non-solicitation of clients. You, the employee, agree to not solicit or accept our clients independently and take them somewhere else. Okay. Basically, you cannot say, hey, I can get paid more over here, or hey, I want you to go to my sister's company and take them with you. Okay. In the event that you do that, you could be fined substantially. Okay. So please read that completely. The employee agrees not to solicit or accept independently any clients of the employer during their employment with the employer and for a period of 1 year after termination of employment with the employer. So you came here without them, you leave without them, okay? Work attendance. Attendance is very important. Our clients are waiting for you. They expect you to come. They expect you to be on time, okay? So if you're going to be late, we need for you to contact the office, not the client. We'll contact the client, okay? You're to report to work at your designated time and clock in. If you're a DSP, you need to clock in. You need to come to work at least 5 minutes early so that you can complete your walking rounds and get report on your individuals, okay? This completes the first page of your 14 pages of orientation. In the bottom right-hand corner where you see page 1 of 14, please write the word BEST, B-E-S-T. Alrighty. Number 3, if you feel sick or ill, call before your scheduled shift. All staff are called to at least a minimum of 2 hours prior. You must call the office or contact the on-call, which is 757-581-9504. A text message is not acceptable. A text message to call out is not acceptable. Okay? You must speak to someone. Now, if you wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and you don't feel well, don't call me at 3. Text at 3 and then do a follow-up call at 6 to ensure that I received it. Now, if you have to be at work at 6, call. Okay? In the event that your illness, you're out due to an illness, we consider the absences to be as followed. Excused absence is a doctor's note. Contagious illness, virus, or infection. Death in the immediate family, and documentation must be provided. Okay? An unexcused absence is an illness or personal affair of the spouses or other relatives that are not children. Okay? Personal appointments which are scheduled during the work assignment. Let us know in advance. You didn't find out last night at 10 o'clock that you had a doctor's appointment. You probably forgot you had one, but you need to contact us in advance, okay? When you know your appointment, let us know so that we can schedule it accordingly. Unexcused is also car transportation issues. Catch the bus, call a friend, plan accordingly. There's public transportation, but that's not an excused absence, okay? Other unexcused or any absences that's not granted by the supervisor. Okay. Number 4, one unexcused absence in the first 30 days of employment can result in termination. So, a no-call, no-show. Calling out in your first 30 days could be termination, okay? If you're a direct support professional, a DSP, if you call out on the weekend, you are expected to make it up the following weekend. Call-outs that require replacement during the weekend, which is a Saturday or a Sunday, will be required for makeup on the following weekend. You will then lose one of your scheduling work days because we will not put you into overtime to make up your schedule. We will not force overtime. If you're unable to complete the scheduled weekend, a corrective action will be given to you, and if it's a pattern, other information and other situations will be discussed. Okay. Request time off should be made to management. We would like at least 2 weeks notice if you know you're going to need to be off. Some things may be a little shorter, but as soon as you know, let us know. You can send it through generations. In the event that it is less than 24 hours or less than 48 hours before, you need to call and speak with someone. Okay? So this concludes page 2. At the bottom of page 2, number 14, page 2 of 14, please write the word Pepsi. PEPSI, okay? Any employee who is absent for one scheduled work assignment without notifying the office or the company will be considered a voluntary resignation, and that is considered a no-call, no-show. You don't show up, you voluntarily resigned, okay? Any employee who declines 2 or more assignments that fit into their available hours to work will be considered voluntarily resigning as well. Okay. Attendance concerns are managed as follows. The first attendance one is a verbal warning, and it's a note to the file. The next one is warning number 2, which is a written warning and counseled by a supervisor, which is normally going to be the staffing coordinator. And the third time is a written warning and counseled by a supervisor with the consideration of suspension or termination. Let's not get to that point. So please sign and date page 3. And at the bottom of page 3, which is 3 of 14, please put a star. Thank you so very much. I'm going to give you a 5-minute break to make a phone call, go to the restroom, and we will reconvene. Welcome back. Responsibilities and work assignment. You are expected to maintain an attitude of caring, consideration, and personal interest with each client you serve. If you are easily argumentative or irritable, you are probably not suited to service our clients, okay? So please take a moment and think about that before you continue, all right? Here is a list of the responsibilities you must be aware of in any of our clients' homes. You must clock in and out using the electronic visit verification system that we spoke about previously, which is called Generations. Please ensure while you're in the home, you turn off all appliances prior to leaving, such as the stove, the coffee pot, and things of that nature. When you leave, make sure you secure the home, whether you're locking up everything, whether you're shutting the doors, things of that nature. You are a mandated reporter, and what does that mean? If you see any types of abuse, whether it's verbal, whether it's psychological, emotional, whether it's misappropriation of funds, you are responsible for reporting it. And yes, you do contact the office. You let us know. We may tell you to contact the adult APS line and give that information as well, and we'll be your support. You are to chart and report any changes in the health, the skin condition, appetite, mental, and or emotional changes in the client. That is very important so that we know how we can continue to provide service to this individual or this client, okay? Make sure while you're in the home there's no tripping hazards. Make sure you are looking around the house and helping them stay as safe as possible. Report any hazardous conditions to the office immediately. When I say hazardous, we're talking about anything that is electrical that is causing a concern, anything that smoke that may be building up, or gasoline smells. Please let us know immediately so we can address the primary caregiver or whoever is responsible for assisting that individual. Report any lost or stolen property, and report vandalism of the client's property if necessary. For DSPs, you are expected to do walking rounds, and you must visualize every individual at the beginning of the shift unless they are not there, okay? You are responsible for charting and Charting and tasks are required every shift and must be completed with your initials, your signature, and every box must have an answer, whether it's yes, no, or did not apply. Okay? Your medication administration record, which is your MAR, must be accurate. You must sign the front, which is with your initials, ensure that you have your signature on the back. Every medication that was supposed to be dispensed during your shift must have your initials before you leave. In the event that you forget to initial, it is expected that it is understood that you did not get that medication. You may be requested to come back to the house and document accordingly, okay? For both the group home and in the field, the clients are not to have your personal phone number. If they have any questions or concerns or they need to speak with you, they are to contact the office, okay? All assignments are made through the office without exception. Any request for a change of schedule or days we work must be submitted to the office for approval. Now, we do ask that you contact each other and say, hey, can you work my shift? Can you do part of it? I'll do part of it. Once you've worked that out, then send us a message so that we can verify that both of you understood what the other one is accepting. However, you cannot change your schedule without one of us knowing. You cannot contact the client and tell the client that you're changing your schedule and expect that to be okay, because we have to change it in the system for you to clock in and clock out. Prior to serving a new client or the group home, you'll be briefed on the services to the client and the individual's needs. Arrive at the client's house a few minutes early on your first day, and then for the group home, you are to arrive 10 to 15 minutes prior to the shift on a new assignment, okay? All clients are to be addressed by their name, such as Mr. Jones, Miss Jones. Please do not call them baby, honey, sweetie, things of that nature. Okay, they are to be called by their name if they want to be called by their name, like Miss Sherry, or they need to be called by their last name if that's what they choose. Always remember to clock in and out once you arrive to your house and report. That is how we know you are there. If we do not see that you're clocked in, we will call you, okay? You are at the bottom of page 4 of 14, and you need to write the number 7. Okay, you are required to use a GPS clock in and clock out. That is how we know you're at the residence, okay? We understand some rural areas it's hard to get a GPS acquired. So in those cases, you'll be provided an 800 number that you can call from the client's phone, okay? You can't call from your own phone. You must call from the client's phone, and that's how we will register that you are there, okay? And with that, you will get a number. It's an EVV number that allows you to clock in and clock out. If you have any doubts about anything the client or the individual is requesting of you, please call the office and speak with one of us. When serving a client, the assignment is temporary. You may request to be withdrawn from any assignment. If so, an attempt will be made to organize and salute a solution that is acceptable by all parties. If a solution is not satisfactory to both parties, the office will begin to diligently make a change. However, it is necessary that you continue to work with the assignment until a replacement is found. Failure to help make a smooth transfer could result in loss of work for another caregiver and a loss of much needed service for that client. Okay? Most cases that we need filled require immediate attention. When we call or text you and you do not reply or answer, we would merely call or contact the next person. So if the next person accepts a job before you contact us, you will have to wait until another job opens. Therefore, it is important to answer our calls so that you can get the hours you want to get the most out of this employment. Okay? Contract is subject to state labor and employment legislation. The employer is obliged to abide by the standards set in the relevant state labor boards act. The employer, which is us, must abide by the standards with respect on how wages are paid, how overtime is calculated, meal periods, statutory holidays, annual leave, family leave, benefits, and recourse under the terms of the act. Any terms of this contract of employment less favorable to the employee than the standards stipulated in the relevant labor laws act is null and void. In witness whereof the parties state that they have read, understand, and have accepted all of the terms and the conditions stipulated in the present agreement contract, we are asking that you please sign and date here. You have completed page 5 of 14. At the bottom of page 5, I will ask for you to write the word RED, R-E-D. We are now going into HIPAA compliance. You're going to write your first name and your last name, okay? And you are agreeing that Hope, Care, and Love, and you're going to put today's date. This is a HIPAA compliance agreement between you and Hope, Care, and Love. We are the employer, and the employer is in the business of processing medical records of the clients, hospitals, and other healthcare providers, and enters into contract with such healthcare providers regarding the manner in which the services employer performs must be carried out. Okay? In performing their employment duties, employees acknowledge that will directly or indirectly gain access to protective health information. As that term is defined under the Federal Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act of 1996 and the regulations promulgated there under HIPAA, employee further acknowledges that the PHI is protected from disclosure by HIPAA and applicable state laws. Employer is unwilling to employ unless employees agree to maintain the confidentiality of all PHI set forth in this agreement. Okay? So, I'm not going to read all of it to you. Okay? You need to read it. You are not to take pictures of your clients and post them online. All right? You are not to take pictures of your clients and send them to each other. If you have to take a picture of your client, it can be sent to us, the employer, and we can review it to see what's going on. You are not to post on social media comments about your clients or individuals. You're not to read their information or personal information and use it outside of the care that you're providing. You are not to take anything that's personal about them, whether it's their medical, their health, their mental health, their social, any of those things, and discuss them outside of their home, okay? You can discuss them with us, who is the employer who is providing a service to them. You are not to even disclose it to their cousin down the street. This is all part of the agreement that you are following HIPAA guidelines. Please understand, if someone feels that you have breached that HIPAA compliance, they can sue you. And if they sue you, they're probably going to sue us as well. So we are now asking you to sign this form saying that you understand that you are not to breach confidentiality. You are not to discuss their personal, their medical, their mental, or their financial business with anyone outside of us, which is the employer, for anything that is related to the care that they're giving, or with them, unless otherwise given permission. Okay? So please, that is page 6 of 14. I need you to put an N in the corner. Okay? In the event that there's a termination of employment upon breach of agreement, the employer may immediately terminate you, which is us, in the event that you have breached this confidentiality. Okay? And if we find that we could result in turning it over to the client, who could then file charges against you. In the event that you become no longer employed with us and you have any information, any paperwork, any doctor's notes, any medical, any financial documents that belong to the client, you must immediately return them to the office, okay? The employee shall, to the fullest extent permitted by law, protect, defend, and indemnify and hold harmless the employer and the employer's employees, directors, officers, agents, clients, and the directors, officers, employees, and employees' clients. Okay? You must keep this information confidential and keep it without being used in the public. All right. So your signature below will attest to the fact that you have read, you understand, and you agree to all of the legally bound terms above. Please date, please print, and please sign. Page 7 of 14, you are going to put an M for mom. Okay. Home care employees only. There's a transportation waiver. All right. Please read this form carefully and be aware that in consideration for Hope Care and Love Home Healthcare Services, you will be expressly assuming the risk and legal liability and waiving and releasing all claims for injuries, damages, or loss which you may sustain as a result of said services, included but not limited to vehicle operations, onboarding and exiting the vehicle. Okay? I recognize and acknowledge that Hope Care and Love Home Healthcare Services is neither a common carrier nor in the business of providing transportation services to the public or its clients. Do not put them in your car, okay? I further recognize and acknowledge that there are certain risks for physical injury to vehicle passengers, and I voluntarily agree to assume the full risk of any injuries, damages, or loss, regardless of severity, that I may sustain as a result of participating in any and all activities connected with or associated with giving transportation services to a client, including but not limited to injuries, damages, and loss arising out of negligent operation or supervision of the vehicle. I further agree to waive and relinquish all claims I may have or accrue to me against Hope Care and Love Home Healthcare Services, including its respective officials, agents, volunteers, and employees. Okay? Don't put them in your car. You can drive their car. long as you have a license and you are following and they are in the car with you, you'll be covered underneath their insurance, okay? However, do not put them in your vehicle and do not drive them in your vehicle. And if you do not have a license, do not drive. Please sign, print, sign, and date. That is page 8 of 14, and you are going to put an H in the bottom corner. The non-compete agreement. The employee is in this employee non-compete agreement agrees to not solicit business from the employer, clientele, or individual already a client of the employer, should the employee leave the employer or be terminated for any reason. The employee may not refer business from the employer's clientele or individual already a client of the employer to the employee's family or relative caregiver business, should the employee leave the employer or to be terminated for any reason. So with the non-compete, in this agreement signifies that the employee will not run, consult, or own a business identical to the hiring company should the employee leave the employer, okay? The word competition in this agreement means should the employee leave the employee will not take part of any of this business to perform the following functions for 1 year, which is in-home care or private duty. Okay. Per the terms of this agreement and during employment by the employee may be privy to company secrets or inside information that is considered confidential. The employee agrees to keep this information in confidence, not to be shared with a third party. The employee agrees to take whatever steps necessary to maintain this confidentiality, not to disclose client, supplier, economical, or developmental information to any outside party during employment. Okay? So fines. The employee will pay a fine of $10,000. Yes, you will pay $10,000 in all attorney fees if you violate the non-compete agreement. Okay? Don't do it. There's plenty of clients out there. There's plenty of other work to be done. Do not try to solicit clients that are already with us. Okay? This employee non-compete agreement is enforceable within a set geographical region contained within the employer's sphere of business activity. This geographic region where the employee agrees to the employee non-compete agreement runs from within 300 miles. Okay? The employee agrees not to practice the aforementioned business in this geographical region for 1 year beginning on the date of termination of the company. So please date, we will sign, and you are to sign. And this is page 9 of 14. And on 9 of 14, you are going to put the number 3. The next page, which is the emergency contact. It is very important that we have your emergency contact information. So we're asking that you put a family member or a friend who can get in contact with you in case of emergency. And you say, why? Why would we call them? We have had instances where someone didn't come to work, they stopped showing up, and we were genuinely concerned. So they weren't answering our calls, they weren't answering our messages. So we reached out to a family member, and that family member has advised us of some concerns where they're not able to reach us. You could have been incarcerated. It could be in the hospital. It could have been you were in an accident. It could have been a lot of different things. So we ask that you complete this emergency contact to its fullest. Okay? So we're going to take a few moments. I'm going to pause. And we will then take the next video to continue. This is page 10 of 14, and you're going to put a number 2 at the bottom of this after you have completed the emergency contact, and you take about 3 to 5 minutes before you go on to the next video. Welcome back. We are on page 11 of 14. We are almost done with the orientation process or orientation packet. We are on salary acknowledgement. Now, the salary acknowledgement is used for multiple departments, so we're only going to initial what applies to you. So your rate will be filled in for you based on what you're being paid, based on what department you're working in. And then when we do any type of deduction from your payroll, it is broke up into 2. Okay, so we divide whatever it is that we have to take out over 2 payrolls so that it doesn't sting as hard at the very beginning. Okay, so if you are just working in as an aide in one of the homes, you must have a Virginia State Police background done, and that is $20. So you will initial where it says new hire, and we will take $10 out and $10 out. If you're working in one of our group homes, you have to have a fingerprint, and that's $58. And so we'll take that background out, and we split that up as well. Okay? So you'll put new hire initials. Now, if you're working with children at any point in time, you must have a separate background done, and that is $10, and we divide that up twice. Now, as a direct support professional, you must have that done along with your background. So you have a total of $68 coming out your check, and we divide that over 34 and 34. So you will initial whichever one applies to you. You're going to print your name, and then you're going to sign and date your name, and then one of us will sign as well. At the bottom of page 11, you are going to put 2018 for 2018. Alrighty, page 12. This is your tuberculosis screening. You are going to check off if this is you're a new hire, okay? And I need you to go down and answer the following questions. Now, if you are a DSP, you will actually receive an actual PPD. Our home care, you're going to complete this form, okay? And for consistency, we normally just have everyone complete it and then we separate it. So you're going to be a new hire. Now, do you have a bad cough lasting longer than 3 weeks? Now, for myself, I have bronchitis. You've heard me cough. And so my cough does persist, but it has nothing to do with tuberculosis. So that's what that is for. Do you have now, are you a smoker? And if you're a smoker, you might have a persistent cough. Is it a cough that is abnormal? Yes or no? Do you have pain in your chest that is abnormal? Okay. Are you coughing up blood, or do you have blood-tinged sputum that is abnormal for you? Are you weak or fatigued? Not just tired because you've been out here, working or partying or whatever. Are you weak because you haven't eaten all day? Or are you weak because of this is something that's going on in your body physically? So yes or no? Do you have no appetite? I wish I had no appetite, but I'm hungry. And so do you have no appetite? Chills? Are you having fevers, or are you having night sweats? Multiple yeses to these are an indicator of tuberculosis, and we may have to have further testing done. Please be honest. Please answer these questions appropriately, and then we'll discuss them further if there's multiple yeses. Okay? With our safety policy and procedure, we are required to give you gloves, mask, and eyewear, and gowns. Now, we give you gloves frequently. Anytime you need them, you stop by the office and use them. We ask that you keep your gown, your gown and your goggles or your eyewear in a bag near you, so if you ever need it, it's there. Because if there's any splashes, someone's vomiting, they've had projectile vomiting, or you're having to handle someone who's had bleeding, things of that nature, we want to make sure that you're covered, okay? So we give those items to you. If you need them, again, just contact the office and we'll make another care package for you. Masks are always available at the office as well. Because of our new norm, since 2020, we keep masks readily available for you. Okay. The policy and procedures for standard precautions are followed by the OSHA guidelines and guidelines in operating with the scope of the agency. You're required to follow your job description and complete the tasks that are in your scope of practice. Okay. You're expected to use standard precautions while providing care to prevent the transmission of HIV, HBV, and HCV. Standard precautions must be observed in all situations where there's potential for contact of blood, urine, semen, vaginal secretions, any of those items. You must ensure that you are protecting yourself. And you could come in contact, because as a DSP or even in home care, they have the right to, you're going to be cleaning them up and helping them get situated. So you want to be very protective. You will have a bloodborne pathogen test that you'll have to do. You'll complete that in-service, and you'll complete your in-service on standard precautions with infection control. You do that on hire, and you do it annually. Then the expectation is to review the information, question any information you're unaware about, and practice these guidelines and procedures. We as an agency will give you the proper PPE you need, and you'll pick it up from the office: gloves, protective eyewear, gown, and mask. I need you to say that you have reviewed this policy. You're going to sign and date, and then I will sign and date. And that is page 12 of 14, and you're going to write the number 468 in the corner. Alrighty, we are on page 13, new employee orientation. As an employee of HCL, you agree that you will not provide the following services to our clients, okay? You may not clip toenails or fingernails. That is for home care only. DSPs, you do. You may not administer enemas, suppositories, or injections. Home care only. DSPs, you do. You are not permitted to organize or dispense medication. Home care only. DSPs, you do. You may not assist with feeding tubes. Home care only. DSPs, you do. You may not dress or maintain wounds or bed sores. Home care only. DSPs you do. You may not wrap a body part. Home care only. You do not. DSPs you do. You may not administer first aid unless certified in an emergency. Call 911 immediately if there's an emergency and follow the instructions. So, I do not monitor your CPR certification or any of your medication, things of that nature, with home care. Okay? So, with home care, you call 911 and you keep them safe. With DSPs, you perform CPR, you get their medication record out, you give them any PRNs, and you follow things accordingly. You may not provide any service that is defined as medical by the state, and that is for both home care and group home. Okay? You are going to initial the following. As a company, we are influenced by the desire to operate on a highly ethical and professional level, and we expect all employees to share our mission, vision, and values. Okay? We want to be the employer of choice, and we want to ensure that our individuals and our clients receive the best care possible. Okay? So please initial. We discuss confidentiality, policy, and clients' rights. Our clients have the right to be treated with dignity and respect. Our clients have the right to have no hurt, harm, or danger brought to them. Our clients have the right to participate in their care. Our clients have the right to refuse care. All of these things are outlined in the handbook, as well as you provide service. You want to make sure that you are well versed in understanding confidentiality and their rights. Okay? Please initial. Safe work practices. Supervisors must train employees on the importance of safe work practices and review the safe work policy. Okay? So, hazards, harassment, unsafe environments where there's yelling and screaming and people arguing or fighting. If you're in areas that are unsafe as far as going to your car, things of that nature. If there's things in the house that are unsafe, electrical wires, the water temperature, those are unsafe practices, and we do not require you to do that. We ask that you make us aware so that we can go to the house and inspect. Okay? Infection control and prevention practices. Supervisors must train employees on the importance of infection control and prevention practices and review the infection control policy. Okay, so infection control. Using proper PPE, good hand washing, using your mask when necessary, ensuring that we're keeping areas clean and dry, and ensuring that we're throwing out all items that have become soiled, and ensure that they're bagged and they're not exposed. Okay, please initial. Emergency action plans. If an emergency should occur, certain procedures are placed into action. Every employee should know and follow these procedures in the event of an emergency. So in the home, if there's an emergency, please call 911. In the event that there is an emergency that is a natural emergency in the area, whether it's a hurricane, tornado, and things of that nature, we do not require our staff to go out into the field during those circumstances. If you're in a group home, you'll be required to stay with the individuals until someone is able to relieve you safely. Okay? Emergency escape routes. Please know your front door and your back door. Please know all your exits at all times. There should be a list of emergency phone numbers in the group home. They are posted throughout the house in reference to while you're in the home. If the client is unable to tell you the emergency phone number, please contact the office, and the office will have an emergency number for a family member, and we'll be the ones to contact them. Appropriate attire and footwear. Okay? You must wear closed-toe shoes at all times. The front of your foot should not be out under any circumstances. No sandals. No Crocs with the opening up front. Okay? You are not to wear those in the homes or in the group home. Okay? You are to wear scrubs to work. Okay? That is the acceptable uniform. Scrubs. Okay? You can wear an HCL t-shirt. If you want to purchase one, you let HR know. You can wear an HCL t-shirt and scrub bottoms. You can wear a scrub top and appropriate bottoms, which is no ripped jeans at all. You can wear khakis or comfortable bottoms that are straight. You are not to wear sweatpants. You are not to wear shorts. You are not to wear anything that is inappropriate If you're not quite sure, ask us. In the group home, it is the same. You are to wear scrubs. Okay, you are to wear scrubs. In the event that you need to wear something else as far as bottoms are concerned, they must be cargo pants or khaki pants that are of appropriate attire. Harassment. We will not tolerate any form of unlawful employee or client harassment. If you are verbally harassed, physically harassed, you are to let the office know immediately so that we can remove you from the situation. You are a mandated reporter of abuse, neglect, and exploitation. You are required to document it, and you're required to follow up and ensure that it has been reported. Once we have reported it, they will do an investigation. Okay? And culturally diverse clients. It is our responsibility to understand that clients may not always come from the same background as us. So get to know as much as you can about the background that you're providing the service to. Ensure that you have a basic understanding of, what their likes are, what their dislikes are, who the correct person to talk to is, who makes the decisions, what their ethical and what their medical desires and needs are. Know what types of foods they eat, because different cultures have different requirements, expectations, and guidelines. So please ensure that you're familiar with that. Please note that you have reviewed and you understand the above training, policies, and procedures of the agency. I have also been provided a copy of the handbook, which was emailed to you. Please sign and date. And at the bottom of page 14, so let's go back up. Page 13, the bottom corner, put a heart. And at the bottom of the 14th page, you're going to put a square. Now this concludes your orientation process. And you will now let HR know that you have completed all 14 pages and you are one step closer to jumping into one of the houses and providing the best care that you possibly can to keep them as comfortable as possible. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And we appreciate all that you are going to do to ensure that our clients are receiving the best care possible. Thank you so very much.